Aloha kako, everybody. Welcome to the Aloha Friday video podcast produced by the Sandwich Island Social Network. My name is Kamaka Brown, and we're really excited to have a very special guest this Friday from his home on Moku o Keawe, and we'll be talking with him in just a couple minutes, but I want to say welcome aboard, you guys. Oh my goodness, the ukulele player just stopped playing in the middle of it. Welcome, you guys. And by the way, that great music that you heard was by our friend, Brittany Paiva. There she is. Brittany Paiva is a wonderful ukulele player. She has given us permission to use her music. Mahalo, Brittany. If you have not picked up any of Brittany's music or downloaded any of her music, please go to brittanypaivamusic.com or on any of your platforms you use to download music and look up Brittany Paiva. She is awesome, awesome. Alrighty then, welcome aboard. We have quite a few friends that are joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Aloha Friday podcast. And we always have great guests every week, and this week is no different. But this was kind of special, because he went private school down the block from where I went public school up the block. And the only street was between us was Nihoa. And he was on the campus of a private school, but us guys gonna get together, and we will not hold old high school rivalries to keep us apart. Please welcome to the Aloha Friday show, Dale Hope. What's up, brother?
How's it? Good morning.
Full disclosure. Dale Hope went to Punahou. He's a buff and blue. Oh, buff and blue Punahou. And for myself, I went Roosevelt. Roosevelt Rough Rider. And back in the days, those two schools were high school rivals. We had a rivalry football team, and we did Kolohe stuff. Dale, that's one whole different show. You and I can talk about what we did.
We'd probably both be arrested.
Oh, my goodness. For those of you that do not know the name Dale Hope, I wanna bring this up again because he is a seasoned surfer, a sailor, a paddler. He is the former creative director of Kahala Sportswear. He's the author of a coffee table book, The Aloha Shirt, Spirit of the Islands, and we'll be talking about all things Aloha Shirt today. Because if you have any questions about Aloha Shirts, Dale is the one to ask because he knows all of it about the history, how it started, and where it went, and what is the situation today with our Aloha Shirt. And so I just want to start by sharing this, Dale. You were quoted as saying this. And let me see if I gotta find this over here because I thought it was really, really, really cool. You said this, Dale. It must have a reverence to whatever it is, some singular essence of Hawaii that is your starting point. A flower, a fish, a canoe, a tree. These things have stories. You want to dutifully, properly tell that story through the shirt. So, would you say that great Aloha shirts have a theme or tell a story? Would that be true?
It is for me. There's been hundreds of shirt makers in the world that have come from Hawaii, or they make Hawaiian type shirts from Florida to California. But I think for us in Hawaii, and for some of the great legendary artists that created the shirts from the 30s through the 50s, that golden era of the Aloha shirt, they generally keyed in on a theme. Whether it be particular floral flowers or canoe paddling or music, whatever it was, they tended to work in different elements that pertained to whatever that subject was, and they did it authentically. And I think that's, it's you can throw a bunch of junk on a piece of fabric, or you can do something reverently and purposefully to really tell a story about a particular theme that you're portraying.
So great Aloha shirts can also be said to be works of art then, because they artfully have a theme or a story to tell. And it all started back in Asia um, with material that told stories. Is that true, Dale?
Pretty much the first Aloha shirts were made with kimono fabric.
Hmm.
And the story that we have, when I interviewed a lady named Dolores Miyamoto, her husband was Musashiya. This is kimono fabric, and this is a Musashiya shirt. Um,
Wow.
and she told me when I got to interview her, she told me, the movie actor John Barrymore, he would come in my shop, yeah, he would tell me he like one shit. The pocket on the street, he get all the credit, but no big deal. But I want to make the first one. So, she was using kimono fabric to make the first shirts. And then
Wow.
eventually, instead of using the temples and the bridges and all the Asian themes, they started using Diamond Head, they started using Waikiki, the Royal, the Moana Hotel, surfing, canoes, the Beach Boys, our Hawaiian sport fish, tropical fish. They started putting those into the prints, and it changed. This is a shirt that was done, very, very early. And the hula girls, I don't know if we can see them, but they're
Yes.
still very Japanese. This art was all created in Japan.
Wow.
So what happened was the people on Oahu would send to the artists in Japan all the postcards or pictures, and then the artist there would depict Hawaii, but they still would add an Asian motif to it. They hadn't quite adjusted 100% to doing it for the Hawaiian style.
So Dale, I want to go back. I mean, you channeled Mrs. Miyamoto very nicely there.
She was a deer, but that's what she said.
Nicely done, Dale. Kojiro Miyamoto, right, became known as Musa Shia, the shirt maker, and here's a picture of Musa Shia, Kojiro Miyamoto, and he's measuring out a length of some beautiful, looks like lobster print fabric, yeah,
Right.
on this picture. So amazing. He was quite an entrepreneur, right? Because by 1935, he had a tailor shop, and he was running ads in the newspaper. I came across this one. I wanted to share with you. Um, this one, this one ad. Here's an ad uh, from 1936, and he uses pidgin English and kind of Japanese flavored pidgin English. He says, Musashiya, the shirt maker, speaking. He says, Gofu play our extreme passing time, employment, intelligent person. I say so. Very hard until produce ball for a hole too small. Then you come my shop, best supremely Gofu shirt, making also all day shirt, party go shirt, pajama, also kimono making, best kind. My only shop exposing on 2164 Kalakaua, Waikiki. So this is one of the early ads. Musushia, quite an entrepreneur to kind of let people know about his shirts back in the day. And you got to talk with his wife. How amazing was that? That was
And he
awesome.
he worked with a guy named George Mellon, who was an advertising guy. And it was George's brilliance that said, we'll use your pidgin English in our ads to be able to tell your story. So they really had a whole campaign using all the ads, just like the one you just read to us.
I should say, and look at here's another one. Everybody liking my shirt maker because superior eternally elsewhere make You worn my shirt, you famed and prosperity lifetime. There's another ad. Those guys
Yeah.
teamed up and they did quite a cool program to kind of get the word out there about the
No, it was
shirts.
classic.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Um, so this Masashi, that was his label. Wow. I would say a shirt that has that label on it right now would be a collector's item, wouldn't you say? Or worth, my goodness, look at that.
Well, if you know the story of it, it's really a collector's item. You can
Yeah.
appreciate who Musashi was and that was one of the first shirts ever made
Hmm.
with Asian prints that
Yeah.
became Aloha shirts. Yes, that's a very collectible shirt.
Wow. Talk to us about this print right here.
Sure. And this is just an example. This is fabric that was Kabi crepe. The print was from Japan, and it's got all these guys on these Japanese boats paddling with snow cap Mount Fuji in the background, Hakusai waves that are about ready to eat up all of these boats. But these are all the prints that first came to Hawaii, Honolulu, downtown, where all the tailor shops were, where they were still making the kimonos. This
Wow.
was Ellery Chun's label, just Aloha made in Hawaii. Very simple. But in those days, that spoke a lot. I mean, it's timeless. It would be a great label even for somebody today, but
Yeah.
that's the label they started out with.
Amazing. Truly amazing. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We have friends popping in, want to say hello, and I want to make sure that we acknowledge them coming in. Here's our good friend Marty Burns. He says, Aloha Friday, Kako. What's up, Brother Marty? Thanks for dropping in, Brother Marty. And there is Auntie Kay Bennett saying, Aloha. Wanted to hear all about Aloha shirts. Here is C. Honda. Aloha Dale and Kamaka. What's up, C? Thanks for joining us. Very good. Hawaii 5 jumping in. What's up, Hawaii 5? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. You guys have any questions or any comments or any memories about Aloha shirts and stuff? Uh, just jump right on in. There's our good friend Thyra Abraham. She says, Aloha Kamaka and Dale. Thyra also has some stories. She was involved with some of the fashion wear back in the day as well when she lived on the Aina as well. So maybe she'll share some stories with us too. Um, the um, the cool thing about that is some of the prints were like pareo type prints. Let's take a look at this one here, Dale. Tell us about this one.
Well, some of the early manufacturers would go to Tahiti and they'd buy piece goods there and they'd come back and make shirts out of what they brought back from Tahiti. This is definitely an influence with Tahitian style type printing, the Pario prints that were characteristic of Tahiti back then and still to this day. And this is what we call a border print, where you have the larger panels of flowers going down the front of the shirt and then off on either the left and the right side too, which takes considerable amount of lining up between all your size small and double extra large when you're laying your patterns out on your fabric to be able to catch the borders like that, including the sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
That takes considerable amount of thought.
Yeah. If you have a popoke that came to visit, we love popokes too. What is your cat? I hear one cat calling out good morning down there. Um,
She wants to be on the show too.
bring them on the show.
Luna.
Bring her. It's Luna. Hey Luna, come join us. We love popokes. Come popoke, come.
Yeah, here we go.
Aw,
Yeah,
aw.
yeah,
Look at Luna. Just
you're
want to say
famous.
hello. The famous Luna. uh,
Uh,
great.
she's a character. We just can't have her walking on the keyboard.
Oh yeah.
We might
uh,
lose you.
yeah. So let's see. here is and it, someone that is wearing almost like an open. Who is this? And tell us about this young lady.
Can you take a guess as to who that is?
Wow. Any of our listeners, anybody watching, who do you think it is, you guys? Anyone? Anyone? um, uh, ooh. Uh, while we're waiting for your response, there's Sharon Gotori. What's up, Sharon? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us, Sharon. Good to see you. As well as, oh, C Honda says, Aloha Luna from our cat Taro. Okay. So we also have the Popoki connection. I told you we love Popokis over here. Here's C
Meow meow.
here's C taking a
Yep.
guess.
Hey, see Honda, you got it. Shirley Temple.
It is Shirley Temple. Ah,
So when I interviewed Dolores Miyamoto at Musashia, she told me that she had made a shirts for Shirley Temple.
no kidding.
So so Shirley Temple's wearing a Kabi crepe Japanese print, and she's wearing Sailor Moku shorts. And she was like 7 years old, I believe, when she came to Honolulu. She
Wow.
was pretty young, and the word got out that she was coming, and 5,000 people came down to the harbor and met the boat, and then many more people came um, to watch her in a performance once it got known that she was here. She was a childhood hero,
Yeah. About
movie star.
what year would this be? Would this be in the 30s?
1935.
35. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah. That is very, very cool. Yeah, she was definitely a movie darling at the time. Oh, DC Makaena checking in. Hey, Kalamai, oi, hey, you late Hawaii. He's blaming his honeydews never end. What? You had to do your honeydew before you came on. Oh, brah. Welcome, DC. Welcome, welcome. Here's Thyra. Thyra says, I sold a lot of Aloha shirts when I worked for Malahini Sportswear for the Sasakis. It was such a pleasant job sharing part of Hawaii's fashion. So she worked for Malahini Sportswear. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Sasaki's were one of the main big manufacturers back in the day.
Hmm.
They, and then Ray Jr. took it over, and he did a marvelous job of keeping the company alive and perpetuating the industry, and was, I believe, president of the Hawaii Fashion Guild for quite a while too.
Nice, nice. Tell us about this shirt. Ooh, this is gorgeous. Look at this shirt.
Well, this is a shirt that I got at Bailey's when Bailey, who has the vintage Hawaii store, was on Kalakaua in Waikiki, and I found it. He used to get boxes of these vintage shirts from the mainland, and he'd allow me, even back in those days before we knew I was going to be such a Aloha Shirt Nut, um, to go through the boxes and look at them before he put them on hangers and put them in his store. But this has always been one of my favorite shirts. You've got four co-eds in a koa canoe surfing, catching a wave at Waikiki, with a co-captain and captain steering the boat. You've got tandem surfers, coconut trees, the ocean. It's just this magnificent depiction of early Hawaii. I've never seen this shirt again, and it's the print that we use for the cover of my book, The Aloha Shirt. It's Kabi crepe. Most likely it was hand printed, not machine printed.
Uh-huh.
So it's a real special print that I've only seen once.
And talking about your
Yeah,
book,
there it
this is
is.
there is your Spirit of the Islands, the Aloha Shirt book, with a foreword by our friend Jerry Lopez, who was on the show on the Aloha Friday show too. Love Jerry, and that's the book. And it's almost out of print. It's kind of hard to get, right? Or you can still, I think you can still go on Amazon and grab a copy if you're
No, it's
quick.
still available.
Okay, all right, nice. Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah,
Um,
Jerry wrote a really touching introduction to the book.
uh-huh.
And, Jerry, whether he's surfing a wave at Pipeline in perfect position or whatever he's doing, he always pulls it off with something that makes it so special. And um, I knew Jerry liked Aloha Shirts, so I asked if he'd write the foreword. And
Nice.
then at the end, he said that he went to the Punahou thrift shop where he went to school
Yeah.
and he bought his first vintage Aloha shirt. Back in those days, they were probably 50 cents when you were able to get them at the thrift shop. And he said he bought it from my mother, who used to
Ah.
work there and volunteer her time.
Ah.
If he didn't bring a tear to my eye when I first read that, it's just classic Jerry.
Yeah.
He's just always so great.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. What's this all
This
about
is
here?
one of my favorite shirts. Again, one that I haven't seen too many times. It's made by Kahala Sportswear back in the 50s. And what they did was they had an artist go down to Waikiki Beach and paint portraits of all the legendary Beach Boys,
Ah,
Steamboat, and all the great, wonderful icons that were on the beach. They used them for the theme for the shirt, for a Beach Boy shirt from Waikiki. It's a fabulous shirt.
very cool. Very, very cool. Wow. I love it.
This is John Keone Miggs. He was an artist that came to Hawaii first as a newspaper reporter, and then he started doing art, and he ended up doing about 300 textile designs
Wow.
for all the clothing manufacturers here and on the mainland. He'd go to New York and sell his art to the big manufacturing companies back there. And they all thought, so I've read some of the quotes, that his art captured the best feeling of that era. He was really fantastic. He did a great job
Hmm.
of capturing the spirit of Waikiki and our territory back then before we were a state.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, man.
This is one of his pieces of art. So you've got throw net fishermen, you've got a net, cowrie shells, fish, torch fishermen, spear fishermen, all combined with little tiny shells around the net. And then that all gets put together and repeated. Very simple, very clean, and very effective. It really captured a spirit from that time period.
As you said at the very beginning when we started uh, our conversation here, Dale, is great Aloha shirts have a theme where they tell a story, and that is so true. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to get too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the beauty of these old shirts is they did authentic depictions of what they were portraying, and they weren't they weren't overdone. They were simple, and you could get a read on it as soon as you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And they captured the spirit of the islands from the good old days
Yeah. Yeah.
before, I like to say, before concrete got poured into our veins here in Hawaii.
I like that analogy. That's so true. Concrete got poured into the veins of Hawaii. Oh, goodness. Here's our buddy Nate Jones. Nate Jones, big mahalo to Nate. He's our talent wrangler, technical support, and uh, he is the one that reaches out to all of the talent and the guests we have on the show. Mahalo, Nate, for all the work you do behind the scenes. He says, Aloha Dale, how's this for timing? I ordered your book on March 8th, and it's out for delivery today with arrival by 2:30 p.m. Okay.
All right. That should be pretty quick.
That's coming up. That's coming up. So there are two, I saw two different book covers over here for the book. So this was and you also have the other one. They both they both are the same book deal.
Kamaka, that was the first book that we did. It was a 224 page book.
Yeah.
and that was done in the year 2000.
Uh-huh.
And um, that's that was a great book. And then we got worked with Patagonia for quite a while, and Patagonia decided to redo our book, and it became a 384-page book, I believe.
Hmm.
And a lot of stories were added to the what we knew from the original book.
Yeah.
You know, so we were able to add a lot more to the second book.
Beautiful. Here's Marty Burns. He goes, love a nice Aloha shirt. Just never can find big boy sizes. Yeah, brother Marty has several X's after the large over there. But yeah, you have some stores and some manufacturers that cater to big boy sizes, to large sizes as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know if Kramer's is still around, but we used to make 3, 4, and 5X shirts for Kramer's,
uh
a couple of decades ago. I don't know if they still have a store down by Ward, but they used to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So let's see. We're looking at the different the different labels as well, right? So here's one. To,
Yeah, the Duke got involved with the Hawaii garment industry back in the late 30s. And, being a champion, Olympic champion, swimming champion, sort of a Hawaiian god down on the beach at Waikiki, he was probably the most desirable team rider for a company to want to have join their company. And Kahala started using Duke's name early on. And then in the 50s, Cisco out of New York um, worked out an arrangement to work with the Duke. Here, Duke's wearing a long sleeve rayon 50s floral shirt with his good friend Arthur Godfrey,
Arthur Godfrey.
musician.
He sure loved Hawaii. He did a lot of promotion on television for Hawaii. Arthur Godfrey.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, with Duke wearing them in all the on stage, and being a former Olympian, being the sheriff, working with all the dignitaries, like when Shirley Temple came to Hawaii, Duke was her escort, and that just lasted for decades up until I think Duke passed away. He was always sharing and um, hosting many visiting people to our islands.
Mhm.
And he was one of the guys that wore Aloha shirts probably better than anybody.
You know, I love the long sleeve. Hard to find. In fact, I was in Honolulu only recently last month, and I was looking around for a good long sleeve Aloha shirt. You know, just a classic. And I walk into some of these the current designers, and they've got some great shirts. They don't make long sleeve Aloha shirts too much anymore, but those are classics. Those, you know, yeah.
Yeah, having been a manufacturer, I always wanted to do long sleeves, but somehow they just didn't catch the buyers'
Mm,
eye. They knew they could sell a short sleeve shirt, but sometimes the long sleeves would just sit there because people didn't really want to wear them in Hawaii
hmm.
when it was warm and hot. So they'd end up getting marked down, and people just didn't really appreciate them. But I'm a big fan of them. I think they're great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, bro, what size do you wear? You get extra. You get extra.
Unfortunately, not your size.
Here's DC Makaena. He goes, back in the late 60s, my beloved wife, Ursula Johnson, was the model for the petite size for Malahini sportswear. Her dimensions are perfect for that size. So I think it's Malahini. Or is it Male? I think it's Malahini, right? DC. Uh,
Mala, right.
Marley, yeah, sportswear in the 60s. Ursula Johnson, a model for
It was
petite
probably
size.
spell checked that Siri got her.
Yeah,
or got
yeah.
him rather.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, okay. Um, Beautiful. Well, thanks everyone for popping in here. See, Honda, can you discuss how local guys? Oh, good question. Can you discuss how local guys wear the faded style aloha shirt for fancy gatherings? Are the super bright colored ones made for tourists? Oh, the inside
Oh,
out
that's a long
shirts.
story. I don't know if we have enough time for me to explain how that all came about, but
Can you say Ren Spooner?
it 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 was a mistake that involved Wrens. Yeah, um, Shane Dorian's father was Pat Dorian, and he was a bartender at the Red Vest on Cohio. And Tom Anderson worked at Wren's at the El Moana store. And Pat asked Tom if he could show him his shirts and see if Wren's would be interested in taking them. And what Pat would do was go to Shaheen, who's a great story that we can talk about in a little bit, buy the fabric. He would go to J.P. Romaine, who was a contractor on Makaloa Street, get the shirts made, and he had them Ivy League, button down, half pullover placket. And so Tom was able to convince Wren into buying the shirts for Wren's. And so he said, well, I'll make you a shirt. And so he said, okay, but make it on the reverse because it was kind of bright. So that's one of the stories as to how the reverse shirt came about. There's a few
Wow.
other people that will claim it too, but to me, that seemed to make the most sense because that shirt, he has that shirt. So that's kind of, that seemed like it really made a lot of sense
Uh-huh.
knowing that story.
Wow. Interesting.
And then,
Okay.
the bankers, everybody's worn those shirts for decades now, probably for over 50 years with a button down collar, Ivy League, because it put dignity into the bigger, boxy Aloha shirt so that the businessman, banker downtown Honolulu, Bishop Street, could feel dignified working with their customers as opposed to a louder, looser, baggier, more visitor, tourist oriented shirt.
Yeah.
And they also liked smaller prints that were neat and tidy that didn't, broadcast too much distraction and noise back in those days.
Okay, very good. Very good. Good question, see? Good question. So here's more of the Duke Kahanamoku. Yeah, you were saying that it was
Yeah, that was Duke Cisco's label that they used. Great Duke champion Kahanamoku, a Hawaiian original. All all well done. His the Hawaii seal, all really well thought out, well embroidered. And those were on tens of thousands of shirts that got made with Duke's label, made by a New York company.
huh. Sweet, sweet. Um so there you go with that label, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's also Ho Manao Nui, take it easy, and then below it says jacket, so it might have had more pockets on the shirt too.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Nice. So all of a sudden now we
So
see Kahala, yeah? Tell us about that.
yeah, so Kahala was originally owned by Nat Norfleet Sr. and then Nat Norfleet Jr. took it over. Nat and I are friends. We used to paddle canoes together. He's about 10 years older than I am. And Nat teamed up with the Duke and they did a whole line of shirts. Kimo Wilder McVeigh was Duke's manager, and Kimo arranged a lot of outings, trips to the mainland, coordination, promotions to promote Duke and also the Kahala's Duke shirt line.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, very, very successful. And with Duke, they also had a surf team, and you had Joey Cabell, Paul Stroh, Butch Van Arsdalen. You had some of the best surfers in the world on Duke's surf team, and they were all wearing Duke shirts. So it was pretty hard not for people to want to, get one. I mean, we all wore them to school when we were in eighth grade.
Yeah.
I remember them, and those shirts are still selling today. And that Duke's Pario sells today in 12 colors. I brought it back to Kahala when I worked there.
Mm-hmm. Ah, here's DC Makaena. He goes, I remember buying 3/4. Oh, that's right, DC. They used to have not just long sleeve, but if you didn't want to commit to short sleeve or commit to long sleeve, you could buy 3/4 length sleeve, right? And he said, I used to wear them, the many colored drapes, my bell bottom pants. Oh, DC, you dating yourself, bro.
You and Don Ho.
three quarter length. I remember 3/4 length. Yes, we used to say it's not three. We say three quarter, bro. Three. If you just joined us, we're talking with Dale Hope out of his home on Moko Okeawe Big Island on Waimea side. We're gonna take one smoke time break, and we'll be back talking more about everything Aloha Shirt. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in just a moment. All right, and we're back on the Aloha Friday show. I just want to share with you all that next week, Friday, we have another guest on our show that I'm really looking forward to talking with, Diana Hanson Young, a leading artist in Hawaii. You can see an example of one of her works, and I'm sure you have seen her beautiful Hawaiian wahine on many products, prints, books, cards, mugs, calendars, and she's going to talk about her artwork next Friday, March 21st, right here on the Aloha Friday video podcast. So join us next week, Friday. And we're talking with Dale Hope on anything that has to do with Aloha Shirts. He is the man. So if you have any questions or you have any comments about the Aloha Shirt, let's see. We've had some that come in. Marty Burns was saying, Uncle, he's talking to DC. Uncle, you were styling back in the day. I mean, you still styling, just no more bell bottoms. I think Uncle DC, I think he would save his bell bottoms, Marty. You never know. I think Dale, in the back of your closet, you still get your bell bottoms. Still get them.
Only get shorts.
Only get Uh, oh my goodness! What a wonderful journey we're taking on the our journey of Aloha shirts here. Um, this one here is beautiful. Tell us about that, Dale.
You know, I think from the early days, even back in the 30s, the owners of the company with Kahala, they'd go to Tahiti and they'd buy fabric and they'd come back and use that fabric in their early shirts. This is a shirt that is engineered to have the names of the South Pacific places, Rarotonga, Auckland, Sydney, Rarotonga, coming down the front of the shirt. To be able to do that on size small all the way to up to double extra large and to lay that out takes an immense amount of thought and planning to lay that out with your marker um, when you're going to cut your fabric to do these shirts. But these traditional two color navy and white, red and white shirt prints that came out of the South Pacific really did a lot to inspire and be a part of the Hawaii garment industry from the 30s till today. You
Mhm.
know, they're still very iconic, and I feel represent the South Pacifically sort of unknowingly to the much of the public, and everybody perceives them as being Hawaii prints, but they're truly prints that were derived from art that came from the South Pacific, Tahiti.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing. There. Look at that. That's
This
gorgeous.
is a classic print. You can find this in photos in Tahiti in 1950. It came to Hawaii in 1965. Kahala redid it pretty much verbatim as it was originally done. And today it's being done in 12 colors with Kahala. It's just iconic. Duke wore it. There's great pictures that everybody sees of Duke wearing this. And I think subconsciously everybody wants to feel like Duke or look like Duke. And it's just a well balanced print. It bespeaks the South Pacific and Hawaii, and it's been probably in many men's wardrobes at one point or another during their lifetime.
Wow.
It's
That's
just
a
a great print.
This a cool shirt. Yeah. I think we talked about this one, yeah, with the Beach
Yeah, we
Boys.
did about the Beach
Mm-hmm.
Boys at Waikiki.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I got Keone here. I want to make sure I didn't miss any of these wonderful pictures that were sent over here. And
You've got a couple more though. Yeah, well, that's one of Keone's prints with
Keone's. Okay.
the the Royal Hawaiian, the Outrigger Canoe Club's paddles, the
Mm-hmm.
canoes, gals and guys on the beach. You can tell how things have changed. You know, board shorts now go almost down to your knee. Here they're almost wearing speedos as their daily swimwear on the beach in the 50s. Um, yeah, but John Keone Biggs, he was great. We got to meet him, and he was a character, and he did all these hundreds of textile designs, and then he left and he went off to New Mexico and he became a fine artist.
Wow. Here's a little tip, and I just got that little tip there on looking at an Aloha shirt, Dale, is if you look at what they're wearing, it very much could depict when that shirt was made or when that design came out. Yeah, like you said,
Oh, very true.
the shorts are very, very short. They're not board shorts or they're not jams. That's reflective of those days too. Wow. Okay. Nice. Nice. Aha. What do we
So
have here?
this is a great one. I kind of discovered when I was down in Tahiti a few years ago. I picked up a book called I Went Native in Tahiti, and it was illustrated throughout the book with all these illustrations of Tahitian lifestyle. And when my friend woke up in the morning, I told him that, hey, Tom, the guy that illustrated this book did these wonderful shirts. And these shirts are amazing. They captured the lifestyle of Tahiti back in those days.
Wow.
And so he said, "Oh, Dale, take the book." And so I did. I ended up finding the relative in Germany, and then and then he introduced me to the son, And then I went to go meet the son, and we, learned all about the artist, and we learned who the artist was that did these amazing shirts. The back border volcano,
Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that.
was pretty amazing. This one with banana trees and hula dancers, pretty phenomenal. Um, these were fabulous prints.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, all done by Wolfgang Wolf. And he was in Tahiti, and then he left and he went to be a textile artist in Los Angeles in Southern California. Yeah, there's one of his great prints. This was Tommy Holmes's shirt. Tommy was one of the founding fathers of the Polynesian Voyaging Society and first sailed on the Hokulea when it went to Tahiti. And
Wow.
yeah, I was able to get his shirt. This is Wolfgang Wolf's shirt. And if you look really closely, what Wolf did was um, he was able to, I got to get the rhythm down here, um, put on the parios, he was able, what's going on here? He was able to put his initials on the pario of
Oh, I see. Okay.
the WO. So he kind of did his own copyright. So people, when they did copy him, they kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
there it is.
Yeah, oh, I see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he knew he was going to be copied because his art was spectacular.
Look
And
at
there you
that.
have it, banana leaves framing this vignette with a surfer with a old style surfboard with the Moana and the Royal Hotel in the background with a couple of coconut trees. Just fantastic. And generally, textile art up until today is usually 24 inches top to bottom. And Wolfgang just broke the rules and went way beyond 24 inches to create these big back border shirts. They're
Long
really
sleeve.
fantastic.
Long sleeve shirt. It's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
long sleeves, we love them.
Woo. Look at that.
It's the
My,
Hawaiian
my.
tuxedo.
Hawaiian tuxedo. That's right. That's right. Uh, look at Wolfgang's. Oh, that pineapple. Look how beautiful that is, Dale.
Yeah,
Oh,
so he
my.
took a little pineapple plantation, rows of pineapples in the back, framed by pineapples, a guy wearing a pario, woven hat, and like a little satchel where he's picking his pineapples. So very inspired by his time in Tahiti. And so this is sort of a South Pacific pineapple plantation.
Hmm. Amazing. Ah.
This is one of, I think, the greatest shirts, and it was made by Alfred Shaheen. Shaheen was probably the greatest garment manufacturer that was ever in Hawaii. He had 400 employees. He did everything but grow the cotton, spin the yarn, and weave his fabric. But he had his own printing. He had his own artists. He employed 400 people, and he made wonderful Aloha shirts and probably the most gorgeous fitted women's outfits in cotton, which is really hard to do. But his cotton garments fit women like a glove. They were
Wow.
just incredible,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
probably for me, the most famous clothing manufacturer to ever come out of Hawaii. This was a illustration of his printing, the way he started on the bottom. They printed all by hand, and two guys would hold the squeegee. And he said the secret to the vibrance of his prints was they'd pull the squeegee twice as opposed to one time so that the color would really saturate into the fabric. And then right above that, you've got the artist. Um, he had two artists that I knew, Tony Walker and Bob Sato, and they created these incredible designs in their art department. And then up above is when he modernized his print plant and it became automated and it was being machine printed.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Bob Sato, is that from Sato Clothiers? Is that the Bob
No, it
Sato?
was a different
No?
Bob.
Different Bob? Ah, okay. Just
Yeah,
curious. Because,
yeah. Good
yeah,
question,
yeah,
though.
yeah. Um,
And this is Bev Noah. She was
oh, Beverly
not,
Noah.
yeah,
Gorgeous
not, just
voice.
an amazing, beautiful woman.
Hmm. My,
And she
my.
was a full-time model. And so, again, hearkening back to the story about Tahiti and Tahiti's influence, the fabric that she's wearing is a direct piece of print that came from Tahiti. And I asked Mr. Shaheen when I got to interview him, I said, how come your parios, your Tahitian prints were so good? He said, well, I went to Tahiti and I chartered a boat and I went to Bora Bora, Raiatea, Taha, Huahine, and Moorea. And I went to every island. I went into every store and I bought every Tahitian pario I could find and I brought them back and I used them for my inspiration. And I said, you sure did because yours are the best.
Wow. Here's Nate. He goes, Dale, my grandma worked long time at, oh, Sato Clothiers at Ala Moana. Did Sato Clothiers founder Bob Sato design the Tiare Tapa Aloha shirt Elvis wore on the cover of Blue Hawaii soundtrack? Ah,
There were two different Bob Satos,
got it.
or
Okay.
two different Satos.
Yeah. Um, and Elvis. A lot of the, as you say, starting not really starting, but I think like Shirley Temple, and then you had uh, um, Ed Duke Kahanamoku, and all of these uh, entertainers and movie stars sure did a lot to promote the Aloha shirt or the Aloha wear for them. In fact, even up until our time, there was this guy. I don't know what was his name. I can't. But
Come on, you can get it.
what is this guy? Everybody, you know. Tell me something about that shirt there, Dale.
Tom Selleck. Well, there was one that was the little orchid one, the one that was usually a black ground.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
And that one sold, it's probably still selling. My only regret in my whole fashion career was I wasn't the guy that made the Tom Selleck shirt because there were tens of thousands, probably 100,000 of those shirts made. That was a really big, that was a coup and a really big deal.
It was, right? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was huge.
There's C Honda. He goes, I enjoy wearing my tropical shirts here in Southern California, but how many times people mistake me for their waitress? Excuse me, you work here? No, I'm just wearing my Aloha shirt. Leave me alone.
Can I get another cup of coffee, please?
Can I have my check, please? I would say, yeah, no problem. Just give me your credit card. And I just keep on walking out the door. No, Kamaka, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. Oh, my goodness. See, you're too funny. See, I love it. I love it. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Um, let's talk about buttons. Ooh, buttons, buttons.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
that, one of the things that really set shirts made in Hawaii, Hawaiian shirts, was that we had coconut buttons. In the early days, these buttons were made out in Kalihi, and they were made on either Republican or Democrat Street at a button factory that was called John A. Oya. And I was able to meet John A. Oya's son, Ernest, and he was able to share photos with me that were taken at his father's button factory, where they drilled out the blanks, and then where they drilled the holes for the sewers to be able to sew the button onto the shirt. But
wow.
that, the mainland shirts all had plastic buttons, and the Hawaiian shirts had coconut. And then later on, I remember that the buttons switched to bamboo that were from Japan that were cheaper than the coconut buttons.
Hmm.
And everybody loved the bamboo buttons as well. But they kind of show that the shirts were more from Hawaii than from the mainland.
Sure. Sure. Coconut buttons. Yeah, yeah. Pretty amazing. So, where are we now with the fashions? As a longtime aficionado of the Aloha shirt, the Aloha fashion, where would you say we are now? What are the trends? Where has the industry gone, Dale?
Well, many of the manufacturers have retired,
Mm,
and they've retired for several reasons. And I think the greatest reason is that our workforce, the women that started working in the factories um, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, they chose to go sew garments instead of doing what their parents did, and that was
mm,
to work in the pineapple and the sugarcane fields.
yeah.
So you could go from high school, you could go from sewing school, and you could learn how to use an industrial machine, how to cut fabric with a big, super, super strong knife that could ply through, a couple of inches of fabric. But those schools are all gone. The Hawaii Fashion Guild is gone. There's really nothing to perpetuate garment manufacturing like what Hawaii was able to enjoy through the 50s and probably almost, the 1990s, where there were 150 manufacturers and it was a really vibrant industry. It's just gotten a lot harder to find people that are willing to do that type of work. I mean, I took sewing lessons on Saturdays, and to sit at a power machine and to sew with precision and skill to get every little stitch right where it needs to go, and to do match pockets and not go one stitch beyond where you need to be. It's really hard. And I give a lot of credit to all those primarily Wahinis that came and worked in our industry and showed up at 7 in the morning, had their coffee, and at 7:15 or 7:30, when the bell went off, they were sewing, and they had a 15-minute break, and then they had a lunch break, and then they went home at 4. And some of them did it, I know, at our factory for 30 years. And
Wow.
they caught the bus or their husbands picked them up, and that generation and that era is gone. And I think we just don't have that. There's great people on the Big Island. Sig Zane, he's still able to print his fabric by hand and get seamstresses to manufacture his shirts, but he's one of the exceptions today. There's really not. It's not a big booming industry like it used to be.
Hmm. So, you could look at a shirt and tell whether it's well made. What are you looking for? If you're gonna purchase a shirt and you're gonna look at it, what are some things that we should look for to show whether it's well made and whether it's worth buying?
Well, I think that many of the things, going all the way back to this shirt made in the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
One of the true things about an Aloha shirt that takes extra thought and costs extra money is to match a pocket. A match pocket versus a no match pocket. A no match pocket just kind of stands out and interrupts the print.
Mm-hmm.
Where a match pocket, you don't even see it.
Wow.
And I think, the print's important. The print has to resonate with the person looking at it. It has to hit them ideally in the heart and mind. So it triggers an emotion that compels them to want to have that shirt, to want to wear it, to be proud of it. If there's a story, if it hooks up to the manufacturer, or there's some relation to who the artist was. People like all those little things that help them to be proud to wear that particular print and shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Made in Hawaii, I think, is a big deal today. Conversely, there's a lot of people making shirts today in Japan. There's a company called Sun Surf that's replicating many of the shirts that were made in the 50s. And they're doing a fantastic job with their rayon shirts that they make today. They're well made. The fabric is just like the original fabric that from the 50s. And I think they're probably one of the best shirt makers in the world today. If you're looking to find a true vintage Hawaiian shirt.
Mhm. All right. So you heard that right from the expert, man. Check the pocket. If there's a pocket and you really can't see it, that means some thought went into the design to make sure that was really part of the picture there. Nate says, when I worked at ESPN, they had a policy of no Hawaiian shirts, but the way to get around it, if they ask, was to say I was wearing an Aloha shirt. Oh, okay.
I'm glad you figured that out. You figured that out, Nate.
Here's another brother, a good friend of mine. He lives on Oahu. Charlie Young. Charlie actually has the family shop. Charlie screens T-shirts. He does great artwork himself. So Charlie was checking in. What's up, Charlie? Charlie's on the Kailua Waimanalo side, on the east side of the island, checking us out here today. Oh my goodness, man, where has the time gone? Dale, it's we've come to the end of our time together, man. We got to
I
get
thought we
part.
were just getting started.
I know, right? So now you work as a consultant for many fashion designers, or for Aloha Shirt companies, or how I know you're flying in and out of town, but you're working with designers.
I still work with different people from time to time, yes. And I've been helping out Western Aloha a little bit
Ooh,
here. It's
I
a great
saw some of
company
that.
out of the Big Island, and
I
I'm wearing a shirt by one of the artists that I absolutely adore, Mayumi Oda, who's down south of Kona. She's just a magnificent human being, and she does beautiful art. And she 2 years ago she had a big show with a lot of her tonkas, huge pieces of art in the Dalai Lama Center in New York.
wow.
She's a real treasure here in Hawaii, living on the Big Island, and we were able to cajole her into letting us use some of her art for our shirts, and her art's fantastic.
So that's
And a
Western.
wonder
The name
Western
of
Aloha.
Western Aloha. I saw some of
Yeah,
their Paniolo inspired shirts as well. Um,
correct.
yeah, okay. Hint. Maybe I can pick up a long sleeve shirt like Dale has on. I like that shirt.
It's our Hawaiian tuxedo.
I know.
It's all we
Exactly.
need to go anywhere.
Exactly right. Oh my goodness. Um, what a fun ride, a journey on the story of the Aloha shirt. Mahalo, mahalo, Dale, for sharing your story, the story of the Aloha shirt, and all of our friends for jumping in today and helping us with our Aloha Friday video podcast today. Big mahalo to all of our friends. And Dale, let's keep in touch. I always have to keep an eye on these Punahou guys. I don't know what they're going to do next. They're real sneaky buggers. Oh goodness.
we
Um,
make we make we might come spray your car with red and yellow.
and here's C Honda, who got asked if she was the waitress there. Mahalo for your insight, Dale. See, you're so funny. See, I love it. I love you guys of the Aloha Friday ohana that jumped in today. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next time. Remember, next week, Friday, Diana Henson Young. That's also going to be a wonderful conversation with a longtime Kama'aina, sharing with her artwork. But for now, we're going to say see you next time. Ahui ho. Thank you so much, Dale, for joining us. And we'll see you next time on the Aloha Friday Show, sponsored by Sandwich Island Social Network. You can check us out down below, right-hand corner, sandislands.org. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization serving Hawaiians and Hawaiians at heart, away from their island home. But for now, we say ahui ho. We'll see you next time.
Mahalo, kamaka.
Thank you.